Hey everybody, we're going to be in Hebrews chapter 9, verse 23 through 28. Just as a brief recap, remember what's going on in the argument in Hebrews. He begins by describing the location and actions of the Levitical priesthood in contrast with the location and actions of Jesus. So the Levitical priests ministered at an earthly temple, and they did so according to the Mosaic law, to follow those stipulations. This was the shadow, the copy, the pattern, the type, all pointing forward to the person and work of Jesus, the reality, the fulfillment of those things. And we see that Jesus ministers at the heavenly temple, the special and unique dwelling place of God. And Jesus wasn't a priest according to the Mosaic law, right? He was a priest after the order of Melchizedek. So these location actions are contrasted. And then we saw last time that Jesus' death secures an eternal inheritance for those who are called, and it explains how he does this, right? It explains by giving us an example that a will only takes place after a death has occurred. And similarly, it is after death that the old covenant is established. And here in our text, he's continuing this train of thought where we see that blood was necessary for the inauguration of not only the old covenant, but also the new covenant. Right? Jesus entered into the direct presence of God on our behalf and offered blood, perfecting those, giving those people to whom they have called an eternal inheritance. So we see, thus it was necessary for the copies of the heavenly things to be purified with these rites. Right? We saw that last time. But the heavenly things themselves with better sacrifices than these. For Christ has entered not into holy places made with hands, which are copies of the true things, but into heaven itself, now to appear in the presence of God on our behalf. Right? Jesus entered the true heavenly temple, and he did it on our behalf. And he did so, in so doing, he inaugurated the new covenants. And then we see in verses 25 through 28 how Jesus appeared once to put away sin, nor was it to offer himself repeatedly, as the high priest enters the holy places every year with blood not his own. For then he would have to had suffered repeatedly since the foundation of the world. But as it is, he has appeared once for all at the end of ages to put away sin by the sacrifice of himself. And just as it is appointed for man to die once, and after that comes judgment, so Christ, having been offered once to bear the sins of many, will appear a second time, not to deal with sin, but to save those who were eagerly waiting for him. So there's a contrast here. The high priests entered the holy places every year with blood not his own. He had to do it regularly, right? In the Day of Atonement, once a year. And he came in offering the blood of animals. But it's saying Jesus didn't do this. He died once and for all. His death was perfect and sufficient and efficient to save his people. And he only had to suffer once to put away sin. And unlike the priests, he didn't offer animals. He offered himself. Right? He himself bore the wrath of God. So just as he gives an example, just as it is appointed for man to die once, and then comes judgment, so Christ once, remember, see how many times that's coming up, bore the sins of many. He will appear a second time to deal not with sin, but to save those who were eagerly waiting for him. So here we see an exhortation to eagerly wait for Jesus, because Jesus is going to save those to whom are eagerly awaiting for him. So today, what does it mean for you to eagerly wait for Jesus? Well, first, I think it comes by remembering that God sent Jesus, and Jesus died on our behalf, and he suffered once to bear our sins. And then there's going to be a judgment. Ponder other ways today on what it looks like to eagerly await Jesus, and what implications might that have for you today as you go about your daily business. In the midst of your life, how can you set aside some time to ponder the reality of Jesus' second coming, and how can you be stirred up to continually wait for him? Not right, eagerly, it says, eagerly waiting for him. So let's be a people who eagerly wait for Jesus, remembering what he did on our behalf. See you guys next time.